All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to talk about two of the best welterweights in the world, Jaron Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz. And Jaron Ennis telling Virgil Ortiz what he thinks about a fight between the two of them. Man, let's make it happen. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about one of the best matchups that can be made in boxing in welterweight division, in my opinion, and probably one of the best fights that has been take place in boxing, and one that I hopefully does not turn into an Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford type of situation, but has all of the looks and all of the features to turn into just that, for the good and the bad. Jaron Ennis is one of the best welterweights in the world, and so is Virgil Ortiz, both ranked inside the top 3 of every sanctioning body. And when these guys that have the belts, the two guys that have the belts, leave the division, there's almost without a doubt these two guys, Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, will be at the top of the list to get the title shots when they become available. Unfortunately, Jaron Ennis thinks that Virgil Ortiz really doesn't want it with him, or at least his camp doesn't. And those camps have radically different approaches or thoughts about the fight. Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot. Thank you for supporting in the live streams that we do. Thank you for supporting in the videos that we do on a daily basis. The channel cannot grow and continue without you guys. You're the basis. Thank you so much. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to join the community where we talk about boxing pretty much every day in the live stream format, video format. Always something really good to talk about. So hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can participate. All right, man. Before I get specifically into Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, let me take you back a few decades ago to a time where we had a circumstance that was very similar to this, but it was in the middleweight division. And the reason I want to do that first is because there's going to be a lot of people in the comment section talking about how I'm nuts for saying that these guys should fight and they should fight sooner than later. And that is the fight that I'm referring to is a fight that took place between Roy Jones Jr. at middleweight before he won a championship, and a fight between with him and Bernard Hopkins before he won a belt. So make sure I get this: Bernard Hopkins before he won a belt, and Roy Jones Jr. before he won a belt. Both matched up as highly regarded prospects. Now, obviously, Roy Jones Jr. was coming off, I do believe, an Olympic silver or bronze, because he got robbed in the Olympics. And Bernard Hopkins lost one of his very first professional fights coming out of jail in Pennsylvania. But by the time they met with each other, they were both in the middleweight division and clearly two of the best young fighters in the division. And they fought early on in their career, and it did not hurt either guy. Roy Jones Jr. went on to have a Hall of Fame career. Bernard Hopkins went on to have a Hall of Fame career. And we, to this day, have that fight and saw that fight before there was any hoopla around it. And it seriously was just as good a fight as it would have been when it happened later. So I don't want to hear none of this talk about these guys can't fight. Now, Jaron Ennis says, look, man, whenever they ask Virgil Ortiz about this fight, he always talking about later down the line. We can do this later down the line. Yeah, that fight will happen, but later down the line. Jaron Ennis is like, look, man, I will do that fight right now. I'll do that fight before I get a belt. I'll do that fight for a belt. Doesn't make a difference to me. I'll fight him right now. He wants to fight. Jaron Ennis wants to fight any of these guys right now. He said he'll take Errol Spence Jr. next. He'll take Terrence Crawford next. He'll take Jaron Ennis next. He said he would fight Keith Thurman next. Speedy Rashidi Ellis. He is 100% confident, and his team, his father, Bozy Ennis, is 100% confident that this kid is ready to go right now. Now, Virgil Ortiz's team, on the other hand, not so much. And in fact, if there is a reason that the fight would not take place, it is going to be because of Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions, who bragged today in the media that, look, we're not scared to put our tough fighters in there, our top young fighters in against people because they made a match with Jojo Diaz and somebody else. No, man, that ain't what we're talking about. We're talking really put Ryan Garcia in there with Gervonta Davis in a way where you know the fight can get made. Not some, okay, yeah, we're going to we need a 50-50 purse split between the two, and it has to be a co-promotional deal between Golden Boy and Showtime. Or, these guys have been in the protection mode of their young fighters, all of their young fighters that are significant, because they have three. At 160 pounds, they've got Jaime Munguia. At 147 pounds, they've got Virgil Ortiz. And at 140 or 35, whatever he's going to fight in, they got Ryan Garcia, right? Now, they do have another guy, I do believe, named Alexi Rocha, mispronouncing his name, but he messed up and lost to Speedy Rashidi Ellis. So, he got him knocked off in an in-house fight. So, but the rest of those guys, they are trying to protect him to the end of the earth. Had a situation with where Jaime Munguia, who I don't know, man, and I'm being facetious when I say this. What does he have, like 40 fights? I don't have my record in front of him, but he was a 154-pound champion several years ago when he beat Saddam Ali, right? Had several defenses of his 154-pound title, goes up to 160 pounds, gets an offer to fight Jamal Charlo and turns it down. But then Oscar De La Hoya comes out with this fake move and says, oh, well, we'll fight you now. But what? It has to be on DAZN. Even though that dude's not a draw, why would Jamal, and he's not the champion, they made an offer, did not want that fight. Same thing so Jaime Munguia didn't want it. The whole debacle, make-believe debacle with Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis, they don't want that, and they're more than likely not going to want the fight with Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis. Because if Virgil Ortiz, and this is somebody that I think is a very, very good fighter. I like Virgil Ortiz without a doubt. I think he's a very good fighter. Now, if he doesn't take that fight in his very next fight, I wouldn't have a problem because he came off of a year layoff. However, if Errol Spence Jr. moves to 154, Terrence Crawford moves to 154, or if they fight each other, at the end of the year, like a lot of people want to have happen, and then those guys move up and all those belts become vacant, you have Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis as in the top three of every one of those sanctioning bodies. And there ain't no reason one of these sanctioned bodies should not order those two guys to fight in order to get their belt. Specifically, I think the WBO should do it because IBF and the WBA, you have a super champion. I don't even know if you can really mandate those guys to fight in the WBA. I think the most the WBA will do for that vacant belt is have them fight Staniansis, or have maybe Staniansis versus somebody for that belt. So that matchup wouldn't make that fight take place. But probably the WBO. The IBF already has Jaron Ennis as the mandatory to get that belt. But anyway, man, I like Jaron Ennis' energy on that and saying, man, let's do the fight now. I would love to see the fight sooner than later because you never know what's going to happen down the line. But when it does happen, man, or if it did wait or whatever, it's just one of those really big fights that I think, really could excite the boxing world. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.